Fuck!
So I just got home after watching Insidious Chapter 3 in the cinemas. This is just the latest in a line of movies I liked the first two entries of, and then just dropped the bomb in the third, following Paranormal Activity, Saw, and now this. Just letting you know I'm going to be releasing a few spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen it yet and you're looking forward to it, then don't watch. You have been warned. So this movie is set a few years before the first one, and we follow a girl named Quinn, who visits Elise, the psychic played by Lynn Shay from the first two movies, because her mother's died recently, and Quinn wants to try and contact her to talk. Elise is hesitant to use her psychic powers because here we enter into one of the things I felt really didn't need to be in this movie, but I'll get into that in a sec. Elise is being, I suppose, dogged by a ghost from a previous case, one who holds a very big grudge against her, so she doesn't really want to go into the server, which hasn't been named yet, which I'll go into again, for fear of her own life. Also recently, she's just lost her husband Jack, who we've never heard of, but this doesn't bother me. Moving on, Quinn gets hit by a car, and when she's on the operating table and dies for a small period, she goes into the fervor, and a demon sort of hitches a ride on her back to the land of the living, where it begins haunting her, trying, this time it's not trying to possess her, it's trying to drag her into the fervor so it can, continue to torture her, I suppose. So Elise has to sort of overcome her own tribulations and try and help get this demon off Quinn's back. Now I'm going to get on to the parts of this movie that pissed me off the most. First, its constant need to reference the first two movies. We have this entire 5-minute section right about the midway of the movie where Elise is talking to Carl, that psychic from the second movie, about her fears about going back into the fervor. And, spoiler alert, the ghost that's dogging Elise is actually Parker Crane, the Bride in Black serial killer from the first two movies. Why does everything need to link back to Parker Crane? Couldn't this just be some isolated incident? Is this literally the only case that she's done? She's been doing this... when she first, is introduced to the Parker Crane case, she's like late 20s, early 30s. She's like 60, 70 in this movie. She must have had hundreds of cases. She must have had loads that gone wrong. Why does everything have to keep linking back to this one case? Additionally, the times that she runs into Parker during her little romps through the fervor, he does this thing where he starts choking her, which obviously is a reference to her death in the first one. But what I hate is the last time that she meets him and she sort of, very comically beats him up instead. So she does this whole, "Come on, bitch, let's do this." First of all, it was funny, but it was stupid. And I don't know what my feelings are as far as something being funny and stupid in an Insidious movie. These movies have always been very sort of straight and narrow to me, but whatever. So after she gets rid of him, it's sort of like she sort of goes through this thing where she knows that he's going to get her eventually, but she's okay with it. Sort of like accepting a fate. I don't know if it's just me, but that just seems to cheapen her death scene a little bit, like she sort of knew it was coming. But the most stupidest part of this movie, by a long shot, ignoring everything else, it's sort of just a sequel. I wouldn't really have had too much to yell at it about. But the stupidest thing, by a long shot, was the very end of the movie. The way the last two Insidious movies ended, it was sort of like an open-ended sort of finale with a little bit of mystery dashed into it. For instance, in the first movie, it sort of ends with Rose Byrne's character finding Elise's corpse. We see through the point of view of Patrick Wilson's character, her husband, put his hand on her shoulder. She turns around and gasps, because we know that he's been possessed by Parker Crane. But we don't know, maybe he looks like Parker Crane, maybe he looks normal, we don't know. But his looks are kept hidden, which is builds a little bit of mystery. So it's what's going on? I want to see what happens next. With the second movie, which I think actually had a better one than that one, we follow Elise's ghost as she's talking to a girl who obviously is being haunted as well. And she goes up to the girl and she hears that familiar clicking sound, that clicking of the demon from the first Insidious. Or is it? We don't actually know. It could be another demon or something like that. But we see Elise look up. We don't see what she's seeing, but she has this horrified look on her face, and then it cuts out. Again, this is mysterious. Like, what did she see? Was it the demon from the first Insidious? Was it something else? I'm intrigued. I want to know. This movie ends on a jump scare that has no ties to the actual movie itself. I mean, we have Elise on the screen, and then the Insidious 1 demon literally bursts out from behind her, goes past her, she's not even looking at it, goes right up to the camera and basically roars at the camera. And it wasn't even hidden in shadow or anything like that. It's like bright and shiny. It's like, it's in perfect vision, and it was CG. It was... What the fuck? When you have a jump scare moment, it's supposed to be, I mean, it's supposed to shock the audience, but it's supposed to have some significance to what's going on. Like I said, Elise didn't even reference this thing. This was literally just a jump scare for the audience. This is what I think people fear horror movies are sort of just becoming now. Literally, somebody jumping up from behind a corner and saying boo with absolutely no reference to anything that's happening on screen. At the end of the day, I am just thankful as fuck that James Wan is coming back to do The Conjuring 2, because the way these movies are going now, we need him back. We need his writing back on this, because... oh, God. Well, this was my first just got back from a movie and felt like ranting about it video. I haven't felt like doing this very often. The only other movie that I saw recently, or recently-ish, that made me want to do one of these videos was Maleficent. So if I had the idea of doing it back then, I probably would have. But I don't know, if I see another movie that from the cinemas that generally pisses me off to such an nth degree, maybe I'll do another one. But yeah, by all means, if you want to check it out yourself, and let me know what you think. So, see you later.